Why there's a blank screen? It's Friday, July 19, 2019, and this is Globespan 24/7 News. My name is Samuel Suknandan, coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. Here are the major headlines for today. A GCOM advised against starting house-to-house registration. JAGDEO says commencing house-to-house registration is illegal. Opposition PPP scared of free and fair elections, says PNC. GWI implements temporary fix to water shortages on the west bank of Demerara. And Eric Phillips quits SARA, says decision will protect investigation. And now for the news in detail. The Guyana Elections Commission's GCOM in-house lawyer has advised Chief Elections Officer CEO Keith Lowenfield against going ahead with house-to-house registration. Nevertheless, GCOM has been publicly advertising plans to start this process on Saturday. Media reports indicate that the attorney's advice was sought by Lowenfield. She advised that going ahead with this plan will be in clear violation of the Caribbean Court of Justice judgment. People's National Congress Executive and Minister of Communities Ronald Bulcan, who spoke briefly about the matter, said the concerns expressed by the GCOM's legal officer is worthy to note.
What is the real issue and what is the paramount consideration? From our opinion, it is to have an elections that can be viewed as credible and elections that the Guyanese people deserve. The remit for the conduct of elections belongs to GCOM. And GCOM have stated thus far that in order to ensure a credible elections, that it is premised on a credible list.
Meanwhile, the action by the Elections Commission is not sitting well with the opposition People's Progressive Party since, according to the party, it has not received any correspondence stating that GCOM will commence this process. As such, the party mobilized its supporters who protested GCOM today, where opposition leader Barrett JAGDEO made these remarks. Kellon Rover has more details.
The People's Progressive Party has indicated that several calls were made to the Chief Executive Officer of GCOM, Keith Lowenfield, in connection with the commissioning of house-to-house registration, but those calls went unanswered. Opposition leader Barrett JAGDEO, speaking with reporters this morning during a protest, says if GCOM moves ahead with the project on Saturday, it will be violating the orders of the Caribbean Court of Justice issued on July 12.
That they cannot do house-to-house registration, that it will be in contravention of the CCJ's decision. And yet he is embarked upon this activity. Mr. Lowenfield has been hiding from the People's Progressive Party and many others. He has not even notified us officially that the house-to-house registration will start tomorrow. There is a requirement that we feel scrutineers, that we send in names of people. None of that has been done. Yet he is single-mindedly embarked upon this project, and we see in it an agenda, that he's following the government's agenda. This will not prevail. We are going to work until we get an election date, an early election date consistent with the CCJ's ruling.
The opposition leader says that the call for house-to-house registration is misleading the citizen of Guyana. According to him, the party stands committed in making sure that every action taken by GCOM is aligned with the Constitution and the court's ruling.
We are a mature party. We cannot be caught flat-footed. We will ensure that when the new chairperson is in place, and we hope that we have a chairperson that will respect the ruling of the court, that this activity could easily morph back into claims and objections. In the meanwhile, as a serious party, We will observe on the ground, field scrutineer for every activity. We are not going to be caught flat-footed. Our purpose is winning the elections whenever they're called, and the PPP is ready for that, whenever they're called.
Presidential candidate Irfan Ali says that the PPP will continue to work to address the concern of the Guyanese people and to ensure that government adheres to the instruction of the court.
One can only guess the motive of Mr. Lowenfield. Why is it that Mr. Lowenfield would want to disregard the orders of the CCJ? Why is it he would want to disregard the Constitution? Why is it he would want to put Guyana at risk, socially and economically? Why is it that he would respect? Why would it that he want to disregard the democratic process? Why is it? What is the motive of Mr. Lowenfield? What is driving him? These are questions that the media should ask him to answer. And as we are saying, Mr. Lowenfield only job, GCOM only job administratively now is to prepare for the elections within 3 months, as is contemplated by the Constitution and as is ordered by the CCJ.
In the official gazette dated June 11, 2019, it states that GCOM will commence the registration process on July 20th. This document bears the signature of former GCOM chair, Justice retired James Patterson. Patterson stepped down after the court ruled that his appointment was flawed. GCOM has plans on moving ahead. Kellon Rover for Globespan 24/7 News.
Thanks, Kellon. Police officers this morning were forced to arrest a pregnant mother who threw a bucket of dirty water on People's Progressive Party protesters assembled in Georgetown. The PPP protesters are calling for the Ghana Elections Commission to hold elections now. At Rack and High Streets, Georgetown, where police placed barricade blocking access to GCOM's office. While there, the woman was seen verbally abusing the protesters. The woman later filled a bucket of gutter water, stood by the fence and threw it over to a section of the crowd. She was immediately arrested by police officers and taken to the station. According to a senior officer, she can be charged for disturbing the peace and provocation. And still on politics, the People's National Congress, the major party within the coalition government, has shown its support behind GCOM for house-to-house registration, saying that the move is consistent with the Constitution and the CCJ's ruling to hold fair and free elections in the shortest possible time. We find out more in this report.
Despite many criticisms, the governing PNC is fixed on ensuring that house-to-house registration is carried out, which will extend the time frame in which elections could be held. Speaking at a press conference today, executive member of the PNC and Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan said his party believes that would be the best way forward.
Proceeding using the expired list that is based on the house-to-house process from 2012 would not give the Guyanese people a credible election. Irfan Ali and the PPP want to force an election on a list that is not only expired, but that is bloated, with as many as 200,000 names of persons who are not eligible. This makes the list susceptible to massive voter fraud.
However, when pressed to explain how the 200,000 figure was arrived at, Bulkan had this to say.
The 2015 general elections, that they were a little over, approximately 410,000 votes cast. And it has been the experience in Guyana that general elections occasions an exceedingly high turnout. So I think that based on the votes that were cast in 2015, it establishes that a list in excess of 600,000, which is what we would have now if we were to accept the expired list and to add persons who would have been eligible subsequent to that. I think it places us in that range.
Bolcanford has stated that while the PNC respects the decision of the CCJ and holds the Constitution supreme, the party believes that the no-confidence motion was a sham, with allegations of manipulation to influence the outcome. Asked to explain the reasoning for his statement, the PNC executive did offer an explanation, but only left room for more questions than answers.
That following the vote that was taken on the night of December 21st, the member in question who cast that fateful vote was interviewed by the media on the balcony of the Parliament buildings. I have seen the footage, and I believe, I would like to think that many members of the media are privy to that footage. I believe the interviewer was Mr. Chabral of Demerara Waves. The question that was put to the member in question was that it was said that he would be leaving for Canada shortly. And the response, the footage is there, the answer was that it was one of an expression of surprise, with the member saying that Canada, he said, no, I am going to the Rupununi. Now, I was in the Rupununi in the month after that, in January, and subsequent in 2019, and I've asked nearly everyone I've met, have you seen Mr. Charanas Prasad? He was not seen in the Rupununi. So this is the sham and deception that we're speaking about.
For Globespan 24/7 News, I am Samuel Suknandon.
Eric Phillips has confirmed his resignation as Special Assistant at the State Asset Recovery Agency, SARA, stating that he believes it is the best solution for himself, SARA, and the country. His resignation comes at a time when revelations were made that he served as a director of the African Business Roundtable, which has an affiliated company that applied for and was rejected an oil block. SARA has found clear signs of a conflict of interest, especially since it is now investigating the questionable award of oil blocks. Phillips said his decision to quit will protect the investigation. Phillips said it will also allow SARA to address the issue of what information is being leaked or tampered with, given that files associated with the issuance of oil blocks appear to not be safe. However, he claimed in a letter to the press that he was not actively involved in ABR Oil and Gas since 2016, but was president of the African Business Roundtable until 2018. This is a business service organization. The ABR Oil and Gas is a separate entity which applied, like many other groups, for one of the remaining blocks in 2016. Phillips maintained, and I quote, "I was not involved in the application process as there was a separate management team responsible for that company," end quote, he added. The letter went on to state that the application for the oil block in 2016 was never responded to by the government of Guyana or the GGMC since 2016. Although an award was made by the government in 2017 to Tullow for the Oranduke block, therefore indicating the ABR oil and gas application was passed over. Opposition leader Barrett JAGDEO spoke briefly to this issue at a recent press briefing.
African Business Roundtable has nothing to do with ordinary people. This is a company. This is not a roundtable for ordinary people. The ones who applied for the oil block, including Eric Phillips. Because you don't see it says the shares are to be held in trust by APDA for ordinary people, or the shares are to be held in trust by an organization for the children of people of African descent. The shares are held by 4 individuals. So you think they're going to give anybody else when they get the oil block? They just flip it and take the money themselves.
The Guyana Water Incorporated has found a solution to the water shortages in its production capacity of its wells in La Parfaite Harmony in Westminster along the west bank of Demerara. The water shortages are suspected to be as a result of incomplete works on a well built in 2010. More in this report.
The Guyana Water Incorporated had experienced water shortage in some areas due to suspected undeveloped wells, according to GWI Director of Operations, Dwayne Shako. He stated in an interview that GWI is working progressively to resupply water to the customer as the concerns residents are increasing.
Unfortunately, we're battling with some major water production issues there. Over the last few days, we had the area served really by 3 wells. We have the Latour well. There's another well at Parfaite Harmony within the same area, and there's another well in Westminster. These 3 wells combine to serve the entire dairy area of Parfaite Harmony. Within the last few days, within the last 3 weeks, we experienced a severe drop in production in one of the wells, and by the time we attempted to do some work on that well, we experienced a severe drop in the next well. So we lost about 39,000 gallons an hour of water in Latour, and within 2 days we also lost another 40,000 gallons of water an hour in Westminster. So we were losing significant amount of water in that area. We really tried. The team worked very hard to get Latour back in operation, and we completed that well this morning around 4 o'clock. And we were able to restore service to that well in Latour. So we had a small part of Westminster now, and the dairy and the Regdosi area, this is the phase 1, has now gotten some amount of relief. But we still have the phase 2 of both the Regdosi and the on the Neiman area. They're being affected.
GWI Regional Manager for Region 3, Dennis Wolford, stated that measures are being put in place for portable water to be supplied to residents at no cost. This temporary measure will be placed until the issue is fixed. As such, the GWI official is pleading with customers to conserve and be considerate when using the water that will be supplied.
To alleviate the issues being faced, we put measures in place to truck potable water in the areas. We have 3 different sets of tankers that will be going in starting 5 p.m. this afternoon, and they'll be working around the clock. Yes, we'll be going around to houses to provide water on a house-to-house basis, street by street.
Reporting for Globespan 24/7 News, Nita Dudnarain.
Thanks, Nita. First Lady Mrs. Sandra Granger last evening reiterated the importance of education to youth development, noting that there is no quick fix that will supplement quality education. The First Lady was at the time delivering remarks at the One Mega Weekend Youth Summit 2019, which was held at the Love and Faith World Outreach Ministry, Sophia. Mrs. Granger said that it is her belief that education must also be relevant. Open quote. I stress relevance because you are blessed to be living in what has been described as the fourth industrial revolution and the age of technology. You are the generation of the World Wide Web, online shopping, social media, smartphones, ThinkPads, drones, and artificial intelligence, end quote, Mrs. Granger said. She added that her idea of education is not only academics, but also social and cultural development that helps to define who we are as individuals and as a society. Speaking about financial empowerment, she said that it is important that young people pre-position themselves to benefit from the wealth that Guyana will soon gain when oil production commences. Open quote. As the young people who will inherit this beautiful and bountiful land, you have to think about the position you want to be in to access and benefit from these riches, end quote, the First Lady said. Meanwhile, the University of Ghana yesterday launched its radio station 95.5 Intelligent FM, which will be broadcast throughout a whopping 10-mile radius of the university's Turkine campus, extending to Melanie on the east coast, Dedamstel on the west bank, and New Hope on the east bank of Guyana. More in this report.
The radio station, which costs $8 million, will provide training in live radio and television production for students enrolled in the diploma and bachelor degree in communication studies. Present at the launching was Telecommunication Minister Cathy Hughes, who emphasized the importance of this facility.
Campus radio has become a reality. And I think from the previous presentations, you know, I can't say anybody would be surprised at the large amount of persons that have been waiting for decades to see the University of Guyana operate its own radio station. Campus radio starts today, and somewhere among the current crop of students are a few fledgling broadcasters who probably have hopes of someday attaining international status.
The director of the Center for Communication Studies, Denise Hopkinson-Bram, expressed her excitement now that the station will be on stream. She stated that the radio station is a non-profitable program and will not be used for commercial services.
We are ready to provide fit and proper content for our airways, educational and entertaining content with people who sound like Guyanese. We are ready to celebrate our own cultures. We're ready to educate our communities, and when we get a new transmitter and a higher mast, we're going to take over.
Reporting for Globespan 24/7 News, Nita Dudnurain.
Thanks again, Nita. A one-day workshop hosted by the Ministry of Social Cohesion for residents of St. Cuthbert's Mission ended on a high note, as several residents were exposed to conflict resolution and census-building methods. Here are the details in this report.
Ask if the Ministry of Social Cohesion can come and assist them to get their plans going forward. And here we are today. We brought an expert officer who's working with them. And we invited not only the councillors and the Tushao, but also the stakeholders in the village. I'm pleased to see the number of persons who turn out, particularly the youths and the female folks. I think this is an excellent exercise. This might be the first time we're going into basically an indigenous community that is one that managed by the Tushao and councillors.
Minister of Social Cohesion with responsibility for culture, youth and sport, Dr. George Norton. The workshop also aimed at improving their communication skills and assisting in the establishment of a conflict resolution framework. Minister Norton says from the interest shown by the participants during the workshop, he plans to host additional exercises of such nature for the mission.
If it means going out there to help the people, we are prepared to do so. Right here in this assembly today, someone is asking if we can bring our culture director. It means that they're looking forward. And as an administration is concerned about the welfare of the citizens and all the citizens, I will insist that yes, not only my director of culture, but so should be the director of youth, the director of sports, and social cohesion will continue to do its work.
Tushao Beverly Klinkian expressed her satisfaction for the initiative by the ministry. She said the new information received will benefit residents of St. Cuthbert's Mission tremendously.
And I'm happy for that so far, because in this village at some point in time we faced conflicts. And most of us didn't realize what are some of the things, the negative things could bring about to this community and from development of our community. If we work together hand in hand and we compromise with each other, we could make things better. And for this workshop, I think it is a good initiative for the villagers and most likely our Honorable Minister, what he has done for this community. And I would like to invite more of this into our village so that we could sensitize the entire community and to be free from conflict resolution.
Reporting for Globespan 24/7 News, I am Kellon Rover.
Thanks, Kellon. We now turn our attention to some regional and international news. Regionally, marine pollution is threatening the economic prosperity of the Caribbean, especially its smaller islands, according to a recent report by the World Bank. Overfishing, coral reef decline, and plastic are all major threats, and the report found that Caribbean beaches could have 3 times the amount of plastic than the global average, largely due to poor waste management. The world's most popular destinations are now hotspots for marine debris. Data from beach and coastal cleanups indicates that plastic beverage bottles alone amounted to 21% of items recorded. Among all plastic items collected, 35% were single-use plastics. The report found that the region is extremely vulnerable to the impact of ocean pollution because of the dependence on natural resources for fishing and tourism. Solid waste and wastewater are the most pervasive sources of marine pollution in the region, with 80% of the pollution from solids and liquids from land-based sources due to poor waste management standards. More than 320,000 tons of plastic waste remains uncollected each year in this region. Internationally, extremely hot weather has started to hit most of the United States, with temperatures set to peak over the weekend. Meteorologists say the BBC reported that heat wave could affect about 200 million people in major cities like New York, Washington, and Boston in the East Coast and the Midwest region too. In some places, temperatures could be close to or exceed 100 F or 38 degrees Celsius. Experts say heat waves are becoming more frequent, a phenomenon that is linked to climate change. The world experienced its hottest June on record this year, with an average temperature worldwide with more climbs according to the new data. And now for a look at what's happening in sport. Cricket West Indies CWI's 4-day Level 1 coaching commenced yesterday at the Ghana National Stadium, Providence, on the east bank of Demerara, with more than 30 participants present. Among them were the Guyana Jaguars captain Leon Johnson, former West Indies captain Ramnaresh Saran, Travis Dowlin, the current Jaguars players Vishal Singh and Veersamy Permal. Territorial Developmental Officer Colin Stewart explained that the main aim of the program is to expose participants to coaching methods at the CWI level. However, at the end of the program, participants would have acquired knowledge of the CWI's common approach to coaching in the Caribbean and would be certified Level 1 coaches. Stewart explained that most of these participants have already completed the CWI's Coaching Foundation course held last month and had some completed the foundation course back in 2015. The CWI has had its coaching program ongoing in multiple Caribbean countries since 2009. Headed by Kern Sanders of St. Martin, this program will alternately produce individuals with the vital information to perform the role of a coach at the club level. And finally, 3-time golf champion Tiger Woods claims he is no longer consistent after missing the cut at the Open and added he would be taking a short break. The 15-timer winner finished on 6 over, and he has now missed multiple cuts at US PGA Championship at majors in the same season for only the second time. Woods stated, and I quote, "As an older athlete, you're not going to be as consistent as you were at 23. End quote. The 43-year-old, who has had back operations, complained of soreness in Thursday's tournament. He struggled to get a 7 over 78 and said he would be receiving treatment after the round. He won the Masters in April, improved on Friday with a 70, although he finished the round with a back-to-back finish. And that has brought us at the end of this evening's newscast. Before we go, here's a recap of our major headlines. GCOM advised against starting house-to-house registration. Commencing house-to-house registration is illegal, says JAGDEO. Opposition PPP scared of free and fair elections, says PNC. GWI implements temporary fix to water shortages in West Bank, Demerara. Eric Phillips quits SARA, says decision will protect investigation. Thank you for watching Globespan 24/7 News. On behalf of myself, Samuel Suknandan, the news and technical team, until next time, do have a great day.